River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, WOR-TV presents New York Mets baseball. As today, the Mets take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pitching for the Mets this afternoon, left-hander Sid Fernandez, who is 5-2 with a 3.36 ERA. And on the mound for the Pirates, left-hander Larry McWilliams, 1-3 with an ERA of 5.96.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Rusty Staub and Steve Zabriskie. And Tim McCarver not here today as he has attended the graduation ceremonies of his daughter Kelly in Philadelphia. And we're all set to go in the 5th game of this series, a 4-day, 5-game series. The Mets have won 3 out of 4, and they're going against the Pittsburgh Pirates here on what has turned out to be a beautiful day for baseball. This morning it was raining, but it has cleared up, and we're all set to go. And on the mound for the New York Mets, it'll be Sid Fernandez, a left-hander, and going for the Pittsburgh Pirates, a left-hander, Larry McWilliams. McWilliams, a man who combined with Garver to stop Pete Rose's 44-game hitting streak a couple of years back.
Well, Sid Fernandez today, Ralph, it's his first appearance against Pittsburgh this year. Last year, he was 1-2 versus the Pirate Ball Club. A lot of shakeups in both lineups. Should be an interesting day for Sid. He didn't really walk very many people in his last outing, but it wasn't a good outing for him. It was really strange.
And Sid Fernandez also with that peculiar fastball. He's been clocked at around 90 miles an hour, but few batters get around on him. He hides the ball very well, and the ball sneaks up on you. And the opposition on the mound in Larry McWilliams, a fellow who pitches very quickly. He revamped his pitching style, taught by Johnny Sane, to pitch a lot faster, and he'll get rid of the ball in a hurry. So he'll be quick pitching, and Sid Fernandez will be slow pitching. So right now, let's return in just a moment right after this word from Busch Beer. Set to go at the confluence of the Allegheny and the Monongahela, forming the Ohio River. Free River Stadium, and the Mets against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Mets with a record of 36-15, and in first place, 9 games ahead of Montreal. Larry McWilliams going out to the mound to take his warm-up pitches. We'd like to remind you this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WOR-TV and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WOR-TV is prohibited. Larry McWilliams with a record of 1-3, an earned run average of 5.96. He has worked 51 1/3 innings so far this year. He has given up 54 hits, 8 of them home runs, walking 24 and striking out 34. Lifetime against the Mets, 9-7.
And leading off for the Mets is center fielder Mookie Wilson. Batting second at second base is Tim Tuffle. Hitting third, playing right field, Kevin Mitchell. And in a rare start at first base, Gary Carter cleaning up, playing first base. George Foster's in left field, batting fifth. Batting sixth, Ray Knight at third. And catching today, hitting seventh, Ed Hearn. At shortstop, Rafael Santana batting eighth. And pitching, Sid Fernandez, hitting ninth.
And the defense for the Pirates, Sid Bream at first base, Rafael Belliard at second base, Sam Khalifa playing shortstop, and Jim Morrison playing third. In the outfield, Bill Allman in left field. And in center field, newcomer Barry Bonds. In right field, Mike Brown, and the catcher is Tony Pena. The umpires for the game, Joe West behind home plate, Billy Williams at first base, Steve Ripley the umpire at second, and Frank Bully the umpire at third. Pirates with a record of 21-29. They are in last place now, trailing the Mets by 14.5 games. And for the Mets, it'll be Mookie Wilson to lead off. Mookie hitting .294, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs.
And Ralph versus Pittsburgh, Mookie is 5 for 17. He's got 1 home run and 2 RBIs and hitting .294.
Mookie in this series 5 for 18, and the pitch is in there for a called strike. Larry McWilliams, quick working left-hander, and the pitch back is fouled down the third base side. Oops. Mets have won 6 out of 7 from the Pirates this year. And the Mets with their 9-game lead, as you look at Larry McWilliams, 66-59 lifetime. the biggest margin they've ever had, dating back to 1969 when they finished the season 9 games up in the Chicago Cubs and became the world's champions. 1-2 the count to Mookie Wilson. And McWilliams tries the sidearm curveball, misses by a good margin, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I've never understood that, Ralph. A left-hander, he's trying to get a backdoor slider, I know, and that ball is hit well.
Out to left field, it's Bill Allman out there. Allman makes the play as Mookie puts him back in the warning track.
He came a little sidearm on that pitch, too. It's something that is not going to fool the right-handed hitters. Mookie got on that ball pretty good, just missed it. Allman checking his outfielder, checking the fence.
And checking the ball, and that brings up Tim Teufel. Teufel batting at .228 with 1 home run, 13 runs batted in. And the first pitch, ball 1.
The Pirates have a lot of guys, like a lot of clubs this year, who really have not played a lot together. And a lot of guys playing different types of positions. Allman, not your normal left fielder, came up as an infielder. Definitely going to be checking off each other.
And this ball fouled off. We got a nice letter suggesting that when Teufel got in a ball game that you would use the expression, when the going gets tough, the Teufel get going. And not bad at all, especially coming from the person that it came from. High pop up into right field, fielded there by Brown, 2 men away. The ex-mayor of Pittsburgh, Pete Flattery, commissioner now in the commissioner's office, ex-mayor of this city, and picking this up on satellite, watching the ball games. Not a bad expression, huh?
Yes.
So now 2 men away, and Kevin Mitchell playing right field, the hitter. Mitchell hitting .313 with 2 home runs, 11 runs batted in.
Against Pittsburgh, Ralph, he's 4 for 16 and driven in 3 runs.
And the first pitch, ball 1. In this series, he's 0 for 4. And that pitch is out of the strike zone. 2 balls, no strikes.
Hitter has to be ready against McWilliams. If you wheel that bat around too much, he's going to get you.
And the fastball fouled back into the stands. The count 2-1.
Pitcher Jim Cott seemed to be the first guy that ever had that quick pitch kind of motion that I've ever seen. Anybody earlier in your career, Ralph, that ever did pitch like that?
Not as fast as Cott. Cott was very fast, and probably the fastest I've seen. Johnny Sain is the advocate of getting the ball and throwing it. Of course, he was a great pitcher for the Boston Braves, along with Warren Spahn. The old expression in 1948, Spahn and Sain and pray for rain, meaning that they just had 2 good pitchers. That ball drilled to left, extra bases. Mitchell again hits it hard. He goes into second base and goes in standing up with a double. So the first hit of the game as Mitchell drills a double into left field.
Well, lately, Mitch has been swinging the bat extremely well. He gets a fastball down and in. And as you said, he turned on it real well. This ball comes off the wall. Ahman plays it pretty good. Almost could have been a play at second base, but Mitch's speed is definitely a factor.
That'll bring up Gary Carter. Carter playing first base in today's game. Keith Hernandez being rested. Keith hitting .328 with 3 home runs, 25 RBIs. Carter hitting .235 with 8 home runs and 34 runs batted in.
And against the Pittsburgh Ball Club, Gary is 4 for 19. He's hit 1 home run and driven in 7 runs.
Carter has scored a lot of runs. 35 to be exact, just 1 short of the leader, Tony Gwynn. Also there is Reynolds of Pittsburgh with 36. Reynolds not playing in this ball game. And there's a strike call on the first pitch by Larry McWilliams.
Both managers resting a lot of people in this particular game, shaking up their lineups.
Mets going with an all right-handed hitting lineup with the exception of their pitcher against the left-hander. The Mets against left-hand pitching 17-4. Pirates against left-hand pitching 4-10. Mitchell the runner at second base. Carter the hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. 2 men out in the first. back into the stands. As they say here in Pittsburgh, a late arriving crowd.
This has been a weird morning. Rained hard this morning. The sun has come out. Clouds keep coming over. The sun keeps coming out.
Typical Pittsburgh type of day. City of Pittsburgh, of course, located in the mountainous area. They had predicted a lot of heavy rain for all the games of the series, but the Mets have had only one rain delay, and that was in last night's ball game. 2-2 the count. Carter gets a little chin music. And now it goes to 3-2. Full count to Gary Carter as Larry McWilliams works to hard-hitting right-hander. Foster on deck. And the 3-2 pitch hit in the air to center field. Barry Bonds in center. And that'll do it. So the Mets get one base runner on the double by Mitchell, and they leave one. And the score at the end of 1/2 inning, the Mets nothing, the Pirates coming up. Now here's a word from the good olds guy. He has a record of 5-2, no decisions against the Pirates. Earned run average of 3.36. He's worked 67 innings, given up only 42 hits, 5 of them home runs. He has walked 31 and struck out 61.
And leading off for the Pittsburgh Pirates is Barry Bonds in center field. Hitting second at second base, Rafael Belliard. In left field batting third, Bill Alman. In the cleanup spot, Mike Brown playing right field. At first base, hitting fifth, Sid Bream. Catching Tony Pena and hitting sixth. Batting seventh at third base, Jim Morrison. In the eighth slot, shortstop, Sammy Khalifa. And Larry McWilliams batting ninth.
And the defense for the Mets, Carter at first base, Tuffle at second, Santana playing short, Knight playing third. In the outfield, Foster in left field, Wilson in center field, and out of right field is Mitchell. The catcher, Ed Hearn, and on the mound, Sid Fernandez. The leadoff batter, Barry Bonds, and the first pitch by Fernandez is bunted back foul.
So far, Ralph, Barry Bonds is 3 for 15 in his series against the Mets.
Just recently brought up from Hawaii, hitting at 275 with 2 home runs, 6 runs batted in.
And since he's come up, Ralph, he's had tremendous success against right-handed pitching, hitting .321, but against left-handed pitching, he's struggled a little bit. He's had not a lot of at-bats, but he's only hitting 167 versus the left-handers.
Made the last out of last night's ball game when Orozco, a left-hand pitcher, struck him out, caught him looking. Bobby Bonds, the father of Barry Bonds, and of course, Bobby Bonds, an outstanding major league player. And the fastball fouled back. Bobby Bonds, the closest man to being in the 40-40 club. No one has ever been in the 40-40 club. That's 40 stolen bases and 40 home runs. Bobby Bonds missed it on the home run side with only 39 home runs. 1-2 to Barry Bonds and the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I made it to the 40-40 club, Ralph.
How many years?
Well, 23.
We're talking about 1 year here.
I know.
2-2. And now 3-2. Barry Bonds a good eye. Has a good on-base percentage.
I'll tell you, the people in Pittsburgh ought to be excited about the future of this ball club. They have some fine young men that look like they're going to be, good, outstanding, some outstanding, but some very good major league players.
And Barry Bonds works out a walk. Well, the Pirates get a base runner on their first chance. And Fernandez walking his 32nd man of the year.
This is almost a replay of the game last night where the leadoff man got on many times during the course of the game. And I believe 4 times walked to get on base.
With Dwight Gooden on the mound. So the batter coming up is Rafael Belliard. Rafael playing second base in today's ball game, hitting 188 with no home runs and 7 runs batted in.
He's had 2 hits in his 6 at-bats against the Mets this year. In his last 5 games, he has swung the bat very well. He's 4 for 9. I guess he's earned a chance to go out there and play a little bit.
Barry Bonds at first base. The Pirates have been running on the Mets. They had 4 stolen bases against Gooden in yesterday's ball game. Now a bunt attempt. Carter will go to second for the force play there, and that's all they'll get. So Belliard bunts into a force play at second.
And trying to move the run over on AstroTurf. He bunted it too firm. Gary Carter in his first game at first base makes a nice play.
That certainly couldn't have been a sacrifice. You can't be bunting in the first inning unless you're Gene Mock, and you played for Gene Mock.
That's why I wasn't so surprised by it.
Leland, the manager of the Pirates, has been a conservative manager to some degree, although he does have his club running. Another throw to first base. This time, Belliard, a slower runner than Bonds, is on. Pirates have had 40 stolen bases in 68 attempts. Not a good percentage, but a lot of tries. Fernandez not knowing for having a good move. Not knowing for having a good move.
Sidge worked on it some in spring training, but it's still something that he can entertain a lot more work on.
Almond has yet to have a hit against the Mets this year. He's 0 for 8. Overall hitting .256 with 6 home runs, 18 runs batted in. And that pitch, a fastball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bill Almond this year, Ralph, with runners in scoring position, has swung the bat extremely well. He's gotten 7 hits and 20 at-bats in that situation.
And Almond playing in place of R.J. Reynolds, who is the hottest Pirate hitter. And I don't understand that. And this ball hit in the air to left field. Foster a late start, but a lot of time to get under it. And he makes the play. So Almond a bid for a home run, but warning track power. Not a home run hitter, even though he does have 6 this year, and it brings up Mike Brown.
He makes a good turn on that ball, hits it good. Whenever the hitter takes a look at it after he hits it, he knows he's hit it well. As you said, George didn't get a great jump on it, but the ball was so high, he had a lot of time to coast back underneath.
So Almond back to the bench, and Mike Brown stepping in. Brown having a tough time against the Mets this year, hitting .260 for the season with 3 home runs and 22 RBIs.
Against the Mets, he's been 2 for 11.
And the breaking ball for ball 1. Talking about R.J. Reynolds. Reynolds with an 8-game hitting streak, batting .484 over the 8 games, and he has hit in 13 of 14, batting .418 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs, and he's not playing today. Here's the pitch back to Brown, bounce to third. Tough play by Knight, but he recovers on the bobble and throws out his man. Knight has not made an error this year. So a walk and 1 left, and the score at the end of 1. The Mets nothing and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Purolator Courier.
Don't miss the red-hot baseball action continuing Tuesday night at 7:30 when the New York Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Live from Shea Stadium here on Channel 9.
And we're going to the top of the 2nd inning. No score. For the Mets, it'll be George Foster, the leadoff. In case you missed the action yesterday, Cardinals beat the Cubs 3-2. San Francisco beat Cincinnati 6-2. Houston over the Dodgers 7-5. Mets beat Pittsburgh 6-4. Philadelphia beat Montreal 3-1, and Atlanta defeated San Diego 4-2. In the American League, Baltimore beat the Yankees 7-5. California 8-2 over Cleveland. Detroit 2-1 over Toronto. Milwaukee 3-0 over Boston. Chicago 10, Oakland 3. Minnesota 4-1 over Kansas City. Texas 7-5 over Seattle and 3-2 over Seattle. So Boston leading Baltimore by 4. Kansas City in second place to Texas by 2. Houston leading the Giants by 1, and the Mets leading Montreal by 9. George Foster, the lead it off for the Mets. And Larry McWilliams gets a called strike. Foster hitting .277, 10 home runs, 28 RBIs.
8th in the National League, Ralph, and has swung the bat well against the Pirates. He's had 7 hits and 20 at-bats. He's hit 1 home run and driven in 3 runs.
4 for 8 in this series, and George has been on a tear. In his last 12 games, 6 home runs and 15 RBIs. His last 25 games, 10 home runs and 23 RBIs. This ball popped up into shallow right. Moving back to make the play is Rafael Belliard, and Foster out. That'll bring up Ray Knight. Knight hitting .333 with 7 home runs, 28 RBIs. Knight is 3rd in the National League in hitting, behind Tony Gwynn at .341 and Johnny Ray at .337.
He's also 4th in the National League in slugging percentage, Ralph, with a .527 slugging percentage. And against Pittsburgh, he's 8 for 21 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs.
And the first pitch he called strike. Ray in this series 6 for 15. Breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Ray has had a base hit in 29 of his 33 games this year. 2 balls, 1 strike. And the sidearm curveball bounced to the shortstop, Khalifa. And Sam with a throw to first base picks up the out.
McWilliams seems to like that pitch. Dropping down on the right-handed hitters. It's not something you normally see. But he's had some success with it today. You can't knock success.
Well, he's only pitched 1 2/3 innings. Let's wait and see.
I agree.
That'll bring up Ed Hearn. Hearn hitting .294. 5 hits and 17 at-bats. No home runs. And it's strike 1.
And that pitch was a sidearm off-speed curveball. I guess he's going to try to dazzle a little bit today.
Johnny Sain, his pitching coach in the minor leagues when he was with Atlanta, a curveball pitcher. Johnny Sain threw about 98 curveballs out of 100 pitches.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, he threw them from all angles. Over the top, sidearm underneath. Made the big turn like Gene Garber.
Yeah.
Almost turned around to face second base before delivering the ball. And a fine hitter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Taciturn, Johnny Sain.
Ed Hearn's had a couple of hits and 6 at-bats against Pittsburgh this year. He had a couple of hits the other night in the game he got a chance to start behind the plate.
And that ball fouled back into the stands.
Hearn has had a chance to play a little more than his predecessor, Barry Lyons. Of course, we're getting into the thick of the season now.
And a strike call, and Hearn is punched out by home plate umpire Joe West. A 1-2-3 inning for Larry McWilliams. Got him with a fastball, and the score at the end, the 1.5. The Mets nothing, the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Ivory. It's about 13,000 a game, actually 13,691 a game. As you look at the crowd here today, has to be a little bit more than that average. Here today on what has turned out to be a sunshine day. Started out this morning with heavy rains. And for the Pirates in a scoreless ball game, it'll be Sid Bream to lead off. Bream hitting at .278 with 7 home runs, 26 runs batted in.
Against the Mets this year, he's 4 for 14. Has not hit a home run or driven in a run yet.
And the left-hand batter against the tough left-hand pitcher takes for ball 1.
And Sid Bream has had trouble with left-handed pitching. Against right-handed pitching, he's been hitting .306, but against left-handers, only .200.
And the ball fouled back out of play.
But has had a lot of success against the Mets over the last 2 years when he's played against the ball club. Ralph, he's hitting .302 in the short lifetime that he's faced the Mets ball club.
Bream acquired from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers didn't figure to need his services with Greg Brock at first base. Brock has been struggling, though. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And Sid Bream has swung the bat strong for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He has 24 of his 47 hits for extra bases.
And this one popped up. Tuffle calling for it, having trouble with the sun, and he makes the play. Oh, Tuffle, when the tough kept going, makes the play.
It was a little bit of a dancer. The sun is tough. You see him shading the sun with his glove.
So 1 away, and the batter will be Tony Pena. Pena hitting at .242, 3 home runs, 20 runs batted in.
And Pena has struggled against the Mets at the plate. He's only had 4 hits and 22 times at bat against the Mets in 1986.
And 3 of those 4 hits were in this series. He is 3 for 12 in the series, 5-game series. No score. Fernandez with a fastball. It's fouled off. Fernandez has averaged 5.64 hits for 9 innings. In other words, he has been really stingy giving up base hits. That's #1 in the National League. He has averaged 8.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's #3 in the league. Mike Scott, a former Met, leads in that department at 9.9.
Sid led in both those departments last year.
He certainly did. To give you an idea about the fewest base runners for 9 innings, pretty good stat on pitching. No modern-day pitcher is in the top 5. And that pitch way outside. The leader, a pitcher by the name of Addie Joss, who averaged hits and walks 8.74 per 9 innings. It's pretty good, isn't it?
That is.
Of the top modern-day pitchers, Juan Marichal leads the list at 9.91. Very stingy in the walk department. Of the active pitchers, Tom Seaver leads at 10.01. Hits and walks totaled up, a pretty good indicator right there. And this pitch is a fastball. And Pena, who seldom walks, picks up a walk.
Mel Stottlemyre works long and hard with Sid Fernandez to try to get Sid's rhythm to be as consistent as possible. It's just been one of the things Sid has had to work on. It seemed like he'll coast along throwing well, and then all of a sudden he'll lose his rhythm for an inning. As I said last time out, he only walked 1 batter and didn't really have a good go of it, which is unusual. Usually if he keeps his walks down, he pitches a fine ball game.
Now he'll be pitching to Jim Morrison, looking for his first hit in this series. He's 0 for 11. Jim leading the club in home runs with 9, 32 RBIs, hitting .240. Pena the runner at first.
He's another hitter who has struggled against the Mets. He's only had 2 hits and 21 at-bats this year against the Mets.
You think it's lack of rhythm, or is it lack of concentration, Rusty, with Sid Fernandez?
Probably a combination of the both, Ralph. Concentration, rhythm definitely coincide.
Don McMahon, who was an outstanding pitching coach, said the only man that he knew of the current players, and I doubt if it even exists today, that could keep his concentration for 9 innings was Tom Seaver.
Well, I agree that Tom Seaver could do it. I think there were some other people that could do it too. I don't think Tommy was the only one.
And the pitch back to Morrison, a breaking ball, the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
Certainly one of the best finishers. Steve Carlton would have to be. From the original Mets staff, Jerry Koosman finished a lot of ball games.
1-1 pitch. And it's outside. McMahon said that the most important thing for a pitcher was concentration and not rhythm or control. It's the fact that he could concentrate continuously through 9 innings of baseball. 2-1. That might account for the fact that managers change pitchers so quickly now.
I think the starting pitchers have realized that relief pitching is going to be part of the game now. Guys making $1 million, $2 million a year who get people out, let them hit 150 against them in the course of a year, they're going to come out and pitch and close games. That's just the way it is.
This ball hit high in the air to center field. Mookie Wilson, who sometimes has trouble in daylight picking the ball up, picks that one up and picks it off.
Or from a nice cloudy day that it was, where the outfielders and the infielders on fly balls like to see some clouds up there. It's kind of opened up the sky a little bit here, and it's a tough sky right now, right over top of the ballpark.
That'll bring up Sam Khalifa. You hear ball players talking about a high sky, and that's a sky with no clouds. And here you see some cumulus up there that might drop a little rain.
It's all around, but when you're looking up sometimes, it seems like, where's the clouds now when we need them?
Khalifa batting 189, no home runs, 4 RBIs. Something you never saw in the old days. Players playing with averages under 200. Pirates have 2 in this lineup. Belliard at 188, Khalifa at 189.
And on that same note, Ralph, he's only hit 2 hits and 14 at-bats versus the Mets this year.
Khalifa, the shortstop for the Pirates. And he takes high in the count. 3 balls and no strikes, and Khalifa hitting 8th in the batting order. No no score in the game. So again, Fernandez walking or getting in a position to issue another walk. There's the pitcher, Larry McWilliams, who's a good hitting pitcher, incidentally. 3-0 pitch, a strike call.
Sammy Khalifa has had a much better record against left-handed pitching, hitting .289 this year. Against right-handers, he's only hitting .132, so he's had some success facing the left-handers.
He's an Egyptian. Don't find many Egyptians in the major leagues. That pitch fouled off. It goes to 3-2.
And the runner was moving on that play, Ralph. As last night, Jim Leyland had his club running all the time, even when they were down 5-0.
4 stolen bases in last night's ball game, and it set up runs for them as they came back from a deficit to get within 1 run and then finally lost 6-4.
There's no doubt it was an integral part of them coming back and being close in that ball game.
Runner goes obviously on the 3-2 pitch with 2 men out. Ball fouled back. Pirates have had all kinds of trouble winning in front of their hometown fans. They have a record of 9-20 here at Three Rivers Stadium. They are over 500 on the road. 3-2. Carter off the bag at first behind the runner, and the runner goes, but it's academic now as Khalifa is struck out. First strikeout for Sid Fernandez. And that ends the inning. A walk and 1 left, and the score at the end of 2. The Mets nothing, the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. As we go to the top of the 3rd inning. Only 1 base hit in the game, a double by Kevin Mitchell back in the 1st. And for the Mets, it'll be Rafael Santana.
And tomorrow, fans, tomorrow night on the $1 Million Movie, Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman star as convicts on Devil's Island. Steve McQueen and Papillon, Monday night at 9 o'clock.
Rafael Santana, the batter. Rafael hitting .167. No home runs, 6 RBIs, and Larry McWilliams starts off and misses ball 1. Santana batting in the 8th position in the batting order.
Rafi struggled against the Pittsburgh Pirates this year. He's only had 4 hits and 23 at-bats. He has driven in a couple of runs.
And this one hit down to 3rd. Morrison, a good play on it. And the out is made. So 1 away, and Sid Fernandez, the next batter.
Offers the ball right down on the ground. Nice play by Morrison. Comes up, knows he has some time, makes a good throw.
Jim Morrison, a utility ball player, most of his career now getting a chance to play at 3rd base for the full season.
And taking well advantage of it.
And here's Sid Fernandez. Sid 3 for 23, hitting .130. 1 strike to count. And strike 2. Sid wearing that number 50 for the 50th state. Hawaii, born in Kaneohe on Oahu. And he struck out in 3 pitches. That sidearm curveball working for the left-hander there, Rusty.
Yeah, that's against a left-handed, and not only a left-hander, but a left-handed pitcher. I don't think Sid's going to handle that one too well. It's just a slow sidearm hook. I think Sidney's going to have to take a lot more BP if he's going to handle that one.
Second strikeout for McWilliams, and it brings up Mookie Wilson. Mookie fried the deep left his first time up. Hitting at .294 for the year. And this one on the ground to the second base side. Belliard fields it, and the Mets go quietly. 7 in a row by McWilliams. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Mets nothing, the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Time Magazine.
On my way to the ballpark, I carry my equipment in my RC Cola sports bag, including my cap, my glove, my cleats, and my RC Cola. And you too can get your Mets RC Cola sports bag on Saturday, June 14th. We take on the Pittsburgh Pirates at 1:35. All fans will receive a Mets RC Cola bag free. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium Advanced Ticket Window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. And when I'm not using my RC Cola sports bag to carry my baseball equipment, I use it for my extracurricular activities, like the beach. Anybody want to catch some rays?
And due to the heavy demand for RC Cola Sports Bag Day, tickets are still available at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window only. For all of the Met home games, tickets can be purchased at all Ticketron outlets at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. The best buy to follow the Mets this season is with the 1986 official yearbook. This year's edition has 96 pages of action-packed color photos and also contains a special 32-page 25th anniversary feature on the history of the New York Mets. Always a collector's item, this book contains bios and statistics of all the Mets. So order your 1986 New York Mets yearbook. Send a check or money order made payable to the New York Mets for $6. This includes postage and handling to Promotion Graphics, Department M, 160 Varick Street, New York, New York, 10013.
Okay, Rusty Staub. And now it's Larry McWilliams to lead off for the Pirates. Larry hit him 188 for the year. He's had 3 hits and 16 at-bats. Takes a pretty good swing at it, although he's handicapped against the left-hander, Sid Fernandez. The first pitch is missed.
McWilliams is 9-7 lifetime versus the Mets, has given them a lot of trouble over the course of the years. In 1985, though, he was only 2-3 with a 4.26 earned run average.
And that one, a strike and a strike 2.
And earlier this year, Ralph, he went to the hospital with some mysterious ailment which no one could find anything wrong with him. They checked him in, gave him a once-over, and he came out. I guess he's fine. He's out there pitching.
An idea about Bunny. Bunts it foul, so he's out. You don't even have to make a catch on that one. Second strikeout recorded by Fernandez. And now with one away here in the bottom of the third, back to the top of the batting order. Barry Bonds, the hitter. Barry walked in a 3-2 pitch his first time up. Barry broke into the major leagues with an 0-for-5 day. His father, Bobby Bonds, broke in with a grand slam home run. One of 2 to do that in the history of Major League Ball. Did it against the Dodgers playing for San Francisco. And the fastball. 2 balls, no strikes. We mentioned that Bonds has a very good eye for a young ball player. That's rather unusual.
And has shown extreme power to left center field, Ralph. For a leadoff hitter, that's a real big advantage, making an outfield be honest.
And he rips this one to right field. Going back is Mitchell. He can't handle it. And Bonds goes in with a double. And that ball hit.
Kevin Mitchell going for the ball here. Looked like he was going to get it. The ball just kept carrying. It's a tough situation for Kevin Mitchell. He's not been in the outfield a great deal in his life in this ballpark. Sunny day, a lot of white shirts.
So the first hit given up by Fernandez. A misjudged fly ball in right. And the batter will be Rafael Belliard. Pirates with their first runner in scoring position. It comes with 1 man out here in the bottom half of the third inning. Belliard with a 188 batting average coming in has driven in 7 runs this year, and he takes for ball 1. Belliard 2 for 6 in this series. One thing about Barry Bonds, he has shown that he can play with the big boys. That's a good swing.
The Mets had shifted him over towards the left side after the first couple of games. The last 2 nights, he's shown he can turn that bat over and pull the ball to right field and pull it with authority, obviously.
He's got a major league ability, and fans, when you got a major league thirst, don't just reach for a beer, head for the mountains and the refreshingly smooth taste of Busch beer. Rafael Belliard played in place of Johnny Ray. Johnny Ray hitting at .337 for the year with 2 home runs and 34 RBIs. And a strike call. 2-1. Ray second in the National League in batting, not playing in this game. In his rookie year, Johnny Ray played in all 162 of the games. The second National Leaguer to do that. High fly ball to right field. Mitchell in good throwing position, but Bonds holds it second.
And in the National League, at the end of the first inning, Montreal is leading Philadelphia 2-0. Chicago will be at St. Louis, Atlanta at San Diego, Houston at Los Angeles, and Cincinnati at San Francisco.
And right here, no score. Pirates with a runner at second. 2 men away in the bottom half of the third inning.
And this is where Bill Allman has shown so far this year. As we said earlier, he's 7 for 20 with men in scoring position.
And the former Brown University man takes the first pitch for ball 1. Looking at a curveball. Allman flied out to deep left his first time up.
I think he thought he had one that first time up, Ralph.
Started to go into the trot, huh? There goes the runner, stealing third with 2 men out. A dangerous play, and the throw to third base. And Bonds is safe. But it was close, and not a good play.
Well, as they say, it's always a good play if you're safe, but in that situation, there's no way you can take a chance on being out. Close play.
Stealing third with 2 men out is not recommended. The advantage that you gain is not that big.
Frank Pulley, the third base umpire, was kind of blocked from that play. That was kind of what you have to call as an estimated guess as to whether or not the tag was down or not.
So Bonds gets credit for a stolen base. That's his third in 5 tries. 41st stolen base for the Pirates this year. And this ball hit in the air to center. Mookie is right there. So that'll retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, a man left at third, and the score at the end of 3. It's the Mets nothing and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Busch Beer. And reports all the sports like nobody else with double coverage from the Alberts on News 9 prime time tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And right here today from Three Rivers Stadium, coming in for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks, Ralph. And a pleasant good afternoon to you. It's Tim Tuffle to lead it off for the Mets in a scoreless affair. Top of the 4th, Tuffle will be followed by Kevin Mitchell and Gary Carter. And Tim tries to bunt his way on, but it is foul for strike 1.
That's a bug in the rug right there.
That's what the gunner used to call him.
That's right. The late Bob Prince, who covered Pirate baseball play-by-play for 25 years here, and plus used to call that a bug in a rug.
That was after they put the rug in.
Right. I hope so.
What was it, open the window, Aunt Minnie, when someone hit one out?
That was Rosie Roseball.
Oh, was that Rosie's line?
Yeah. Open the window, Aunt Minnie, and then the other announcer, you'd be good at this, Steve, had to drop a box of broken glass like she never made it.
Are you insinuating I might not have good hands?
I don't know about your hands, but your arm is really bad. After throwing it, missing the cutoff man from 20 feet.
Ty Morrison at third. It was a tough chance for him, and Tuffle is on at first to start the 4th inning. And they're going to give Morrison an error.
Well, this ball hit on the artificial turf, and you don't get many bad bounces, but evidently Morrison couldn't figure that hop out, and it is scored an error. So the Mets have their lead batter on.
What happens a lot of times on the turf is that second hop has a lot of overspin on it, and the ball will kick by you, and it looked like that's what happened to Jim Morrison. Kevin Mitchell takes low and away for ball 1. Mitch, with the only Mets hit so far, doubled to left back in the 1st.
My favorite Bob Prince expression was when he was talking about a star, I'd like to have his future, but then again, he'd like to have my past.
But how does he know that? He was an institution here, boy. They loved him. Off-speed delivery. And it's 2 balls, no strikes. When you see the new, all-new 1987 Nissan Sentra Sport Coupe, you'll say bye-bye basics and hello Sentra. Mitchell hits it a ton to left field. Bill Allman at the wall, and it's out of here. A 2-run home run for Kevin Mitchell, and the Mets lead it 2-0.
Well, Mitchell's showing signs of becoming a strong type hitter. He hits the ball high in the air, and he gets that backspin on the ball that makes it carry. And what looked to be a long fly ball carried to be a home run, and Mitchell gets his 3rd home run in his major league career. All of his home runs have been against left-hand pitching. His first was off of John Tudor. So there it goes, and the Mets take the lead 2-0.
And while we were looking at Mitchell's home run, Gary Carter stroked the first pitch into center field for a single. So there's still nobody out. That's the 3rd hit off McWilliams. And the home run to Mitchell was the 9th home run that Larry McWilliams has yielded this year. Here's Carter's base hit.
Al Carter going up the middle to pick up his 2nd hit of the series. He's now 2 for 11, and the Mets still have no one out.
And George Foster, the batter. George popped out to the second baseman, Rafael Belliard, in short right field his first time up. But George has hit in 5 of the last 6 games, hitting .529 with 3 homers and 7 RBIs. In the dirt, ball 2. Mitchell hit that home run like Ralph Kiner used to hit those home runs. High and deep.
Carrying ball. That's the secret.
It's like that golf drive. Get that backspin going on that ball, and it'll just take right off. (3-0) now to Foster. Carter at first with nobody out. George looking down to third base coach Bud Harrelson. And Jim Wynn begins to warm up in the Pirate bullpen. And George is hitting, and he hits it high and deep to left. But this one should stay in the park. Carter tagging at first will not advance as Allman makes the catch and throws into the cutoff man, and that's the first out here in the 4th inning.
Well, unlike Mitchell's home run, Foster doesn't get that big carry on his. It's high enough but not far enough, and Allman catches it on the warning track, or near the warning track.
So Carter still at first with 1 out for Ray Knight, who grounded to short back in the 2nd inning. And he takes high, ball 1. Ray has hit .342 in the last 33 games, hitting in 29 of them. He started out hot and has stayed that way. One and one. Knight looking at Bud Harrelson as with the count and the situation and 2 slow runners. He wants to know if the hit and run is on. But it's ball 2, 2-1, and now he's given another long look down there as the possibility of that increases.
And it's a perfect count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Earlier in this series, they pitched out on a 2-1 count.
And Knight hits it up the middle, and Khalifa boots the ball. Second error of the inning on the Pirates, and the Mets have runners at first and second with 1 out. Jim Leyland can do nothing about this.
Well, second error of the inning. 1 accounted for an unearned run. Khalifa unable to handle it on this carpet. And now runners at first and second.
And here's Ed Hearn, who looked at a called 3rd strike to end the 2nd inning. And he takes a strike here. Ed is batting .278, making his 5th start behind the plate. He's hit in all 4 of his previous starts as a catcher this year. And a ball got away from the Pirate bullpen, and it was retrieved by Mike Brown, the right fielder. McWilliams does not have a good walk to strikeout ratio, and along with the 9 home runs he's given up, those walks and homers together are not a good combination. Hit sharply to short, and Carter is doubled off second base to end the inning. So Hearn lines into an ending double play, but the Mets get 2 on Kevin Mitchell's 2-run homer and lead it 2-0 here in the middle of the 4th. Now here's a word from Nissan.
Baltimore scheduled against the Yankees. Baltimore 4 games back of Boston. The Yankees 5 games out. At the bottom of the 2nd, Toronto nothing, Detroit nothing. At the bottom of the 2nd, Cleveland 6, California nothing. Oakland scheduled later against Chicago, Boston against Milwaukee, Minnesota against Kansas City, and Seattle against Texas. Texas leading Kansas City by 2.
Those Texas Strangers no longer the Strangers. Mike Brown to lead off the bottom of the 4th for Pittsburgh. The Mets lead it 2-0. Brown grounded to 3rd to end the 1st inning. And he pops this one up behind home plate. Ed Hearn may have a play. It looks like he does. And he makes it 1 out. And that'll bring up Sid Bream.
Ed Hearn handles this one with no difficulty at all in spite of the bright sun here. And the Mets get a quick out here in the bottom of the 4th.
Sid Bream popped out to second baseman Tim Tuffle to open the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1. A breaking ball right in there. Strike 1.
Mine was willing, but the body weak.
Left-handed curveball against a left-handed hitter will lock you up sometimes. And that one catches the inside corner, and it's 0-2. Bream's hit 300 over the last 30 ball games to get his average up to 278 coming into the game. And he pops it up down the left field line. It's drifting into the seats, and Knight, who gave it a look, will not have a play. So still 0-2.
Bream from Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
The town that Jim Thorpe made famous.
Jim Thorpe, noted in professional baseball for 1 feet.
1-2.
He was the man that drove in the only run in the 10th inning of the only perfect no-hitter. Only no-hitters pitched against each other.
Way inside, 2-2. The double no-hitter.
Double no-hitter. This ball hangs inside. Bream just does get out of the way. Hippo Vaughn was one of the pitchers. That's a good name.
They don't have names like that anymore, you know. Oh, you talk about getting locked up. See you later. The breaking ball, and Sid Fernandez picks up strikeout number 3.
Well, this curveball really freezes Bream. And he knows it.
So 2 out in the inning, and the batter will be Tony Pena, who walked his first time up. And we mentioned that in that manner because Pena is a new man at the plate this year, and credits manager Jim Leland with making the difference.
The other pitcher in that no-hitter that both pitchers pitched the no-hitter for 9 innings was Fred Toney.
There's a ball outside. That walk in Pena's first at bat, his 20th of the year. And that's in the past been about a full season for him. 1-1.
Most walks in the regular season done by Babe Ruth, 170.
A lot of guys would just love to be on 170 times in a year.
Imagine going to the plate 170 times and walking. Mickey Mantle has a line that he's the only player in the Hall of Fame who went 0 for 5 years in the major leagues. Combining his walks and strikeouts, they averaged up to 5 years.
5 years worth of at-bats. Man. Babe had 170 walks, and most guys would give their eye teeth for 170 hits.
there's no doubt that Roots was the greatest hitter that ever played this game. He's at the top of the heap in almost every category. At least that's in my mind he was.
Foul back, and the count stays 1-2. And I think the #1 category he was probably at the top in would be the fear department. He was the most feared hitter, as evidenced by his 170 walks in the season.
Lou Gehrig hit behind him. That's 170 men on base.
Look at that headgear. Haney gets a piece of it, and it's still 1-2. Somebody ought to tell this guy that there are some caps for sale at the concession stand. Doesn't even cover his whole head. Of course, they're not used to the sun a lot here. Check swing roller down the third base line. Knight will have to hurry, and he just does get him at first, and a nice play by Gary Carter at the other end. So Sid retires the Pirates in order here in the 4th, and the Mets lead it 2-0 after 4. And we're back after this for Burger King.
Yeah. Doing the catching in this ball game, and right here doing the running as we take a look at the last play. Ray Knight has yet to make an error at third this year. This was a tough one. Got the half hop, handled it well, and had to get off a good throw from a running position. And he nips Pena at first base. Good job by Ray Knight. Boy, he has really done a glove job this year.
And his throws have been great, too. That's a throw he could not have made prior to having his arm operated on. Here's Rafael Santana to lead off the top of the 5th inning for the Mets. New York leading 2-0, and Santana grounded to third his first time up to lead off the 3rd. It's inside, 1-1. Larry McWilliams has been touched for 2 runs on 3 hits. Kevin Mitchell's 2-run homer, the big blast. Down to the second. Belliard. And 1 away. Belliard playing second for Johnny Ray. And as you mentioned earlier, Ralph, kind of hard to figure why Ray and R.J. Reynolds are not in the lineup today.
Well, they did play in the previous 4 games of this series, but they're their best hitters.
And R.J. Reynolds, a switch hitter, not bothered by the left-hander going. And, you know, he's only 26. You don't really need to be rested usually day game after night game when you're 26.
Well, the platoon system is certainly changing this game.
It is for sure. Sid Fernandez fouls another one back, and it's 0-2. Sid struck out his first time up.
It's really a manager's cop-out. Because if you do put a right-hand batter up for a left-handed pitcher, in other words, a pitcher pitching left-handed, you take the second guessing away from everybody. You say, well, I played the percentages.
And that's not always the case because, for example, Tim Tuffle, whom the Mets acquired to hit against left-handed pitching, last year in the American League had a better batting average against right-handers than he did against left-handers. Popped into short center. Barry Bonds takes care of it, and there are 2 away.
But it's being done all the way back to Little League ball, and players get used to it.
Yeah, I think that's the most detrimental part of it, is not that it's done up here in the big leagues, but that anything that's done here in the big leagues is copied in amateur baseball, and they're starting to do it all the way down the line. And I think it's going to hold back players' developments, and also you never know what could happen to a guy if he played regularly. Mookie Wilson takes the ball outside.
Can you imagine back in the days of sandlot baseball when you choose up sides of play, you guys say, hey, I'm not going to bat because he's pitching from the same side I hit him from.
So I can't be in there today, guys. There's a left-hander going. No, it doesn't make any sense. And I think, although it more often than not is a good idea, I think guys have gotten carried away with it in certain instances where they'll just automatically do it without taking anything else into consideration. 2 out, nobody on for Mookie, and the count 2-1. And he pops it up into foul territory. Pena has room and makes the play, and the inning is over. So McWilliams retires the side in order for the 3rd time in 5 innings, but the Mets lead it 2-0 in the middle of the 5th. And now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover Trust. Podcast television premiere. Robert Mitchum and Deborah Carr rekindle a wartime affair when they meet again in Reunion at Fairborough on the Saturday $1 Million movie right here on Chanel number 9. Bottom of the 5th and a 2-0 Pirate lead. And once again, here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Steve, and it will be Jim Morrison to lead off for the Pirates. Mets have 2 runs on 3 hits. The Pirates no runs on 1 hit. Morrison flied out to center field his first time up. We're talking about double no-hitters, the only time it has been done in Major League Baseball. Vaughn and Tony, the opposing pitchers. There's a swing on a fastball. The odds for a no-hitter has been figured out to be 1,300 to 1. The odds on a double no-hitter, astronomical.
Yeah, you figure it out.
And it's foul, so it's strike 2. The odds on a perfect ball game, nobody reaching first base, 260,000 to 1. There have been 13 perfect games pitched in the history of baseball. The last one to do it, Mike Witt, did it on the last day of the season, 1984, and that's the last no-hitter pitched.
That's right. There was not one last year in the major leagues, and there hasn't been one this year. Close. Couple of one-hitters.
Couple of one-hitters. Bounced right back to Fernandez. And Morrison a week out. Not 7 days, but
W-E-A-K.
right. That'll bring up Sam Khalifa, who was struck out his first time up. Khalifa struck out in a 3-2 pitch. Strike call. You know, Reggie Jackson has several records, but he has one no one else has. He's the only player to be on the winning side of 2 no-hitters. Catfish Hunter pitched the no-hitters, won a perfect game. 1 ball, 1 strike. As Sid Fernandez, who has pitched a one-hitter, works on the mound.
Pardon me, Rob. Were those when they were with Oakland, or was one with Oakland and one with the Yankees?
I'm not sure. I think maybe one with the Yankees.
Yeah, I think so, too. And that would be really unusual.
And this ball fouled back. 1-2.
2 guys, teammates on 2 different teams when the pitcher pitched a no-hitter. Baseball's great, isn't it? You get into so many little subtle nuances, even in the statistics.
Football not noted for that, although there's one Pittsburgh Steeler fact that everyone knows. Trivia. The immaculate reception.
Franco Harris.
And there's a foul ball off the right side, so Khalifa keeps it at 1-2.
A ball that was intended for a wide receiver ricocheted back, and Harris on the dead run toward the goal line picked it off the turf without it hitting the turf and went in for a touchdown, and the Steelers went on to their first playoff appearance and first of many Super Bowls.
Haven't seen Art Rooney here. He's usually at the ballpark all the time.
That's right.
There's a high pop-up playable for Ray Knight. Ray has run off the play as Santana takes it, and that gives you an idea about the wind here. That ball being blown out to left, and it certainly did help Kevin Mitchell's high fly ball to left and went out for a home run. So 2 men away, and McWilliams left in. He's batting with 2 men out here in the 5th inning. Mets leading 2-0. Let me wish a happy birthday to Dime Robinson back in the major leagues after some more injury problems. 29 today. That's strike 1.
Saw Donnie in the clubhouse before, and he's had a really up and down career because of injuries, almost annual injuries. And he was reactivated just the other day and is available today should they need him.
Got knees like you have.
Yeah. I hope they're better than mine.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Larry McWilliams, who tried to bunt his way on with 2 strikes and fouled out. Two and one. Kind of a game where you can talk a lot, isn't it? Nothing going on.
Yeah.
Just pitchers.
A lot of tween time.
Good fastball by Sid Fernandez. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Larry McWilliams against Sid Fernandez. And McWilliams is struck out for the second time. 4th strikeout for Sid Fernandez. He has now retired 8 in a row. And the score at the end of 5, the Mets 2 and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from the good olds guys.
Fun part of my job. Catching is the tough part, the sweaty part. But you won't catch me showering with deodorant soap. I made a break from all that. A clean break with Ivory. Look, that's basic, natural, honest soap. Not like soaps that cover you with smelly perfumes or deodorant. What's that got to do with clean? Ivory's clean is an honest clean. You can smell it, you can feel it.
Make a clean break, because you just can't beat Ivory's honest clean.
Even when you got a special date.
Coming up on June 28th, it's the 8th annual New Jersey High School All-Star Football Classic. Live from Rutgers University, hello, featuring the best of the Garden State's young hopefuls with News 9's Carl Churkin calling the play-by-play. That's on June 28th.
And right here, on June the 8th, Tuffle goes after his first pitch and fouls it back into the stands. Tim 0 for 2. He reached on an error back in the 4th and was aboard when Kevin Mitchell hit his 3rd home run of the year. Mets leading 2-0. Top of the 6th inning. Larry McWilliams on the mound for the Pirates with a lifetime record of 9-7 against the Mets. His year last year was the reverse of that, 7-9. Rusty Staub pointed out earlier that McWilliams hasn't really been the same pitcher he was when he racked up some fine years.
Well, he suffered some arm trouble, and obviously there aren't many guys like Tommy John and others who have been able to come back as successfully from arm problems.
Tommy John operated on by the fine physician Job.
Dr. Frank Job has done a lot of pitchers' arms.
Tommy John, when he was going under for the operation, said he wanted to have a left arm like Sandy Koufax. Said fix it up like Sandy. Didn't quite come out that way.
It's all right. He's still throwing.
And that pitch, a ball, and it's 3-2. To deep right field, going back to right fielder Brown. He can't get to it. Tuffle goes into second base with a grounds rule double. Ball bouncing over the fence.
Well, the Pirates not expecting Tuffle to be able to drive the ball this far the other way, and Brown was playing him in pretty much medium right field. And that's an artificial surface warning track that they have here at Three Rivers. It's a rubberized surface. And usually when the ball hits on the fly like that, it does go over the fence.
And it brings up Kevin Mitchell with a 2-run home run in the double. Mitchell perfect today. Started the ballgame hitting .313. Got his 3rd home run and 7th double, his first 2 times up. And the leadoff double by Tuffle, and the pitch is high for ball 1.
Now, this guy right here, Ralph, typifies the other side of the coin in the platooning thing that we were talking about. This has given Mitch an opportunity to break into the big leagues and get his confidence going, and he's responded.
Certainly has done a fine job. Davey Johnson has used him so very well. Jim Wynn throwing in the bullpen for the Pirates. McWilliams back in 1983 won 15 and lost 8 with 4 shutouts. Had 199 strikeouts in 238 innings. And this ball hit hard to 3rd. Morrison looks Tuffle back at second base and picks up the out at 1st. So Tuffle holds at second, 1 away.
Well, they finally get Kevin Mitchell out, but it's a hard out. He hits another one on the nose. And Morrison, because the ball hit so sharply on the rug, has plenty of time to throw him out.
That brings up Gary Carter. Gary with a base hit up the middle in the 4th inning, 1 for 2 today. Mets with 2 runs on 4 hits. Pirates no runs on 1. for 11 in this series. Carter with that slightly open stance. Pittsburgh had a great shortstop, Archie Vaughan, that hit with a very open stance. Put in the Hall of Fame last year. Hit 388 as a shortstop, I believe, one year, somewhere around 380. One strike to count. Look out. Carter gets hit. Has to come back for his helmet. And the Mets have runners at first and second.
This is the fourth batter this year that Larry McWilliams has plunked. It looked like it caught Carter on the upper part of his arm. Fortunately, not on the helmet. Gary does not wear that ear flap, which is now mandatory. Players who came into the league prior to that ruling can still wear the flapless helmet. And that ball very close to Gary's left ear. And
that might be it.
Yeah, here's Leland.
Stopped by the home plate umpire to talk to him, so that means he's probably making a double switch. Irony of baseball. Carter's played at first base in this ball game to keep him from getting beat up from behind the plate, so he gets hit by a pitch. So while they make a pitching change, McWilliams out of the ball game. We'll pause for this message from WOR-TV. The new pitcher for the Pirates, replacing Larry McWilliams.
This is Wynn's 23rd appearance. He's 1-1 with 3 saves and a 3.29 ERA. He's pitched 27 in the third innings, allowing 10 earned runs. He's given up 6 homers. He has walked 11 and struck out 28 in his 27 and the third innings of work.
Wynn last year with the Pirates had a record of 3-6. Also was with Hawaii.
And cleverly, here at Three Rivers, they were playing Jim Croce's song that includes the line, "You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit in the wind, and you don't mess around with Jim."
Apropos. George Foster, the first batter for Jim Wynn. George in this game is 0 for 2. Mets leading by a score of 2-0. They have runners at first and second, 1 man out in the top of the 6th inning. Last game of this road trip for the Mets. Short trip, 4 days, 5 ball games. They'll take on the Philadelphia Phillies tomorrow night at Shea Stadium. Mets have not decided who their pitcher will be. They might pull somebody up from the minors. And Foster fouls it back. It's out of play. And our crack statistician, Jay Horwitz, almost was removed from the game.
Jay, are you all right?
It hit him on the wrist. Hit him in a great place on his hands.
Now his handwriting will be even worse.
And that pitch a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That ball almost got you, Ralph. That hit the facade right underneath the upper deck when it looked like it was going into the upper deck and came right down on our desk.
Right on top of the table and then into the hands of Jay Horwitz and out. Hard smash base hit. Tuffle coming around from second base. The throw home is not in time. Tuffle scores. The Mets lead by a score of 3-0.
George Foster continuing to drive in runs. He's now hit in 6 of his last 7 games. This is his 8th RBI in his last 7 games. And in addition to that, it's his 24th RBI in the last 26. Good throw by the left fielder Bill Allman, but just not in time. Tuffle got hung up a little bit on Tony Pena, but was able to get around Pena and tag home plate. Decoy by Morrison to keep the runner Carter at second base.
So Carter at second base, Foster at first, and the batter Ray Knight. Ray in this ball game is 0 for 2. That run charged to the record of McWilliams. And a broken bat flare into center field. It'll drop in for a base hit. Carter goes to third and holds there, as he had to wait to see whether or not that ball would be caught by the second baseman, Belliard. So the base is loaded as Knight gets a base hit. Ray now has had a hit in 30 of his 34 ball games.
Well, as the old expression goes, they don't ask how, they only ask if. And when you are hot, it seems like you get base hits like this, and Ray Knight is hot. When you're not, you hit ropes right at people.
So the base is loaded, and the batter will be Ed Hearn. Ed is 0 for 2. Pirates playing their infield at double play depth, with the exception of the first baseman, who is in. Hearn yet to have a RBI in the major leagues, and he's got a good shot here as he takes the first pitch, strike one. Came into this game hitting .294. Now had 19 at-bats. This one topped out to the pitcher's side, and he fields it, throws to the catcher, Pena, who steps on home plate for the force play. They throw down to third, but no play at all on Foster.
Ed hits this ball right off the end of the bat. Pitch breaking away from him. He was out in front of it on top of that. And an easy play for McWilliams to get Carter coming from third. They tried to get Foster rounding the bag too far, but George did not go far enough to have any problem.
So the bases remain loaded, and it brings up Rafael Santana with 2 men out. Rafael 0 for 2 has 6 runs batted in this year. Mets leading 3-0. And it's ball 1. Rafael has grounded out the 2 times he has been up.
Is closed on Larry McWilliams now. He went 5 1/3, charged with 3 earned runs on 4 hits, struck out 2, walked none, and hit a batter. He also yielded a home run.
And that one fouled off, so they count 1 ball and 1 strike. Rafael with 4 hits and 25 at-bats against Pittsburgh pitching this year. Jim Wynn in relief of Larry McWilliams. And it's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Mets have scored first in this game, obviously, as they lead 3-0. They have been 27-8 in games that they have scored first. Ground ball to the shortstop. And the play is made by Khalifa to Belliard to retire the side. But in the inning, the Mets get 1 more on 3 hits. No errors and 3 men left on base. And the score at the end of 5½ innings, the Mets 3 and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Bud Light. Down to the bottom of the 6th inning, the Mets leading by a score of 3-0. The paid crowd here today, 14,391. Total in the house, 15,571. And the Pirates coming up. Their leadoff batter will be Barry Bonds. Bonds with a walk and a 2 base hit, so he's perfect today against Sid Fernandez. Bonds with the only hit of the game for Pittsburgh. Doubled over the head of Kevin Mitchell in right field, and the first pitch a called strike. And the fastball foul back out of play, strike 2. Bonds 4 for 16 against Mets pitching. And this one hit in the air to left field. Foster with the shades down. And he makes the play, 1 away. Sid Fernandez working on a 1-hitter. Sid has not had a complete game this year. 2, a number and average of 3.36. He'll be working to Rafael Belliard. Rafael 0 for 2 today. Pirates with a team batting average of 249. And the Mets lead the National League in team batting average at 265. Belliard with a count of 1 ball, no strikes. 2-0.
Mets are also now second in the National League in team ERA. They have periodically been first, 3.17. Houston, the current leader, 3.12 ERA.
And it's ball 3, 3-0.
If you lead in both hitting and pitching, you ought to be right up there in first place.
Although one year the Pirates led an ERA and finished last.
Exactly right, 2 years ago.
The 3-0 pitch. All 4, so Sid walks Belliard. That is his 3rd walk in this game. That'll bring up Bill Allman. Allman 0 for 2. Mets leading 3-0, 1 man out. Bottom half of the 6th inning.
Now, most teams use a donut on the end of the bat, or they have a new metal collapsible bat that they swing. The Pirates use, or at least most of them, just a plain old-fashioned sledgehammer in the on-deck circle. Did you ever see that before?
I think they did it a while back. Stargell used to swing a sledgehammer.
That's right. Wilbur was the first I ever saw do it. And then I guess it departed with him. And I don't remember them doing it before this year.
He was the only guy strong enough to pick it up.
That's true. Whirl that thing around one-handed.
And a ground ball hit foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. I believe the donut has been outlawed.
Well, I saw a couple guys down there going to the donut.
Is that right?
McWilliams did when he came up. He wasn't going to pick up that sledgehammer, so he had a donut on his bat. But you know, they develop these inventions. Now they've got that aluminum bat with a collapsible thing inside that you swing that tells you if you've got a good wrist snap or anything. Spend a lot of money on those things. They go out and buy an old-fashioned sledgehammer at the hardware store and do the same thing.
Yeah, but all the outstanding batting averages, the fellows just swung 2 bats. Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Rogers Hornsby.
Yeah, I used to like 2 bats. I think that was in some ways better than the donut or something else.
That pitch almost hits Allman. The count 2-2.
Did you ever hit into like a heavy punching bag?
Yes, I did.
Did you do that? I did that in college. We had one hanging up, and they had us do that. I was in school, and I thought that was a good way to strengthen your muscles.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count. And now full count, 3-2. And Sid Fernandez in a position of having 2 men on if he doesn't get this ball over.
Well, this is Sid's bugaboo, his control, and he seems to have a problem with concentration because a lot of the time he falls behind like this when he's leading in the ball game.
Throws over to first base. Belliard's not going anywhere. Three and 2 the count. Runner does move, and the pitch is ball 4. So 2 walks in a row, and the tying run is at the plate. Stoudemire, a phone call to the bullpen. Action starting up down there. Doug Sisk starting to throw. Time run at the plate. The cleanup batter, Mike Brown, the hitter. Mike in this game is 0 for 2. And the fastball is missed. Brown has had 3 home runs this year, and he has driven in 22. Acquired from the California Angels in the John Candelaria deal. 1 strike to count for Sid Fernandez, working to Mike Brown. And another good fastball. So Fernandez coming back with 2 blazers and out in front with a 2-strike count after 2 walks.
Well, that just points up the fact that he really hasn't, apparently at least, lost anything physically.
Goes to the curveball. It's hit on the ground off of Sid's glove. The throw goes to first in time for the out as the runners move up. That ball, a tailor-made double play ball, but Sid Fernandez got his glove on it. Slowed it down.
Well, that's right. The fortunes of baseball and sometimes the misfortunes. But Sid had to react to this ball because obviously had he fielded, he could have started the double play. But in doing so, he slowed it down and changed the trajectory to the point where the Mets only get 1 out instead of a possible 2.
And the batter coming up is Sid Bream. Runners at third and second, 2 men away. Bream is 0 for 2, has been struck out once. And the curveball, a strike call. Bream with 7 home runs, 26 runs batted in, hitting .278 at the start of the game. So Sid Fernandez in his first crises in this game. And it is hit it in the air to shallow center. Mookie Wilson right there. And Sid resolves the problem. No runs, 2 walks, 2 left. And the score at the end of 6. The Mets 3 and the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Lincoln Mercury.
Stadium in Pittsburgh, a 3-0 New York lead. And as we go to the 7th, I am rejoined by La Grande Orange. Welcome back, Rusty.
All right, Steve.
Sid Fernandez will lead it off. Sid surviving a mild threat. In the bottom half of the 6th inning, after 1 out, he walked 2 batters, but was able to pitch out of it. And he takes a fastball from Jim Wynn for strike 1. Sid's 0 for 2. He struck out and flied to shallow center.
Ralph and I were talking earlier in the game about the concentration, and that's the one thing that Sidney is going to definitely have to work on a lot, because you just can't get in the middle part of the game and then lose it for an inning and keep recovering all the time.
Well, that's playing with fire. And he's out of there on 3 pitches as Wynn records his first strikeout. And there's 1 away here in the 7th inning.
There's Wynn over the top. Nice sinker. As we said earlier, Sidney may have to work a little bit more on those pitches.
A little extra BP.
Looked like his head was looking out to right field instead of at the ball. It's tough for the pitchers on the road. They don't really get a chance to hit much.
No, that's true. Although some are doing it now because of the 24-man roster, or at least some clubs are having some of their pitchers hit.
Yeah, some of the better hitters
that they might
that are pitchers
as a pinch hitter.
Correct. We've done it this year ourselves.
That's
once.
right. Mookie Wilson's 0 for 3. He's flied out, grounded out, and popped out.
Rick Aguilera, being the pitcher, drew a walk.
In Friday night's 2nd game of the doubleheader, hit a 2-run home run. He wasn't pinch hitting at the time, but he can put the bat on the ball. It was his first hit this year. And Mookie puts the bat on the ball and hits it into the gap in right center field. It's going to one-hop the wall. Mookie going to second as Barry Bonds comes down with it, and it's a 1-out double for Mookie Wilson here in the 7th.
Fastball breaks out right out over the plate. Mookie likes the arm extension. Hits it as hard as you can hit it. Looked like it almost was going to bounce out of the ballpark. It came back so quickly, though. Even with Mookie's speed, he could only get a double.
So Mookie at second with 1 out for Tim Teufel, who's 1 for 3. Teufel takes a fastball for a strike. Teufel is flied to shallow right. He reached on an error in the 4th inning and scored ahead of Kevin Mitchell's 2-run homer. And he doubled and scored in the 6th inning. Goes after the high fastball and lofts it into center field. Barry Bonds backpedals. That ball's carrying, but Bonds gets back, and Mookie Wilson will tag and easily go to third on the deep fly ball to center field.
a little wind blowing now. Wynn getting the ball up right now. Tuffle tried to tomahawk it. Bonds backpedaling. The drifting outfielder is probably the outfielder that can make the most mistakes. We've talked about this many times.
Well, you are right about that. You've got to get to where the ball's going to be and then make the play. Kevin Mitchell has doubled, homered, and grounded out. 2 for 3. And he misses the sinker for strike 1. Wynn has had an outstanding sinker so far today. Since coming into the game in the 6th inning, he's had quite a few ground balls, and Rick Aguilera is beginning to throw in the New York bullpen.
Kevin Mitchell on his last at bat had a man on second with no one out and pulled the ball very sharply to third base.
And he taps it up the middle. It's going to go on into center field for a base hit, and Mookie Wilson comes home, and the Mets lead it now 4-0. Mitchell's 3rd RBI of the game.
This is basically what you term an AstroTurf hit. A hard ground ball right over the pitcher's head, just eking through the infield. A lot of hits like that in the big leagues now with all the turf fields. I think one of the guys that did the most of that was Ted Simmons in his years with St. Louis. When he went to Milwaukee, he had a lot of trouble hitting on natural turf.
Yeah, if you can hit the ball hard on the ground, the AstroTurf or artificial surface, it's not all AstroTurf, is going to be a benefit to you. Gary Carter's 1 for 2. He singled in the 4th. He was hit by a pitch his last time up in the 6th inning as Mitchell draws a throw at first base. Mitch with 3 stolen bases and 3 hits today. Single, double, and home run. Carter hits one on the ground to Sam Khalifa at short, who goes to second to Belliard to get Mitchell. And the inning is over, but the Mets pad their lead with a run on 2 hits here in the 7th inning. And in the middle of the 7th, it's 4-0 New York. Now, here's a word from Ford. Get ready. Get your paints and your papers and all the stuff you're going to need, because Banner Day is just around the corner. The Mets Banner Day contest will take place between the Mets and Pittsburgh Pirate doubleheader on Sunday, June 15th. Contestants will have the opportunity to win thousands of dollars worth of prizes, including a 25-inch color television set courtesy of Emerson. And please remember that only those banners carried by 1 or 2 persons will be permitted in the contest. Banners will be judged on neatness and originality. That lets me out. Tickets for Banner Day can be purchased at all Ticketron outlets at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. That's Banner Day, Sunday, June 15th, when the Mets take on these same Pittsburgh Pirates at 1 o'clock.
And the Mets return home from this road trip for a 3-game series against Mike Schmidt and the Philadelphia Phillies, June 9th, 10th, and 11th. After Philadelphia, the Pittsburgh Pirates will visit Shea for a 4-game weekend series beginning Friday night, June 13th, and continuing with a single game on RC Cola Sports Bag Day, Saturday, June 14th, and a doubleheader on Banner Day, Sunday, June 15th. Tickets can be purchased at all Ticketron outlets, at Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. And if you're planning on catching the Mets at Shea this season, purchase your tickets early so that you may obtain the best available seats. There's plenty of exciting baseball coming up at Shea, so come on out and see baseball like it ought to be.
And the Mets are playing baseball like it ought to be today, leading 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Tony Pena will lead it off for the Bucks, followed by Jim Morrison and Sam Khalifa. Pena in the ball game is 0 for 1. He walked in the 2nd and grounded out in the 4th. Retired on a fine play by Ray Knight at third base. Ball 1. Ball 2.
I think this year Davey Johnson has tried a few times to push Sidney further into the games. Earlier last year, I think if he got in a little bit of trouble in the 5th or 6th innings, he brought the reliever in a little earlier, trying to build some confidence with Sid. But I think he's trying to push him further and get him to start getting to the 7th and 8th innings more often now, even into the 9th inning.
Right. Sid has not had a complete game. And Don Robinson, whom we spoke of earlier, celebrating his 29th birthday today and just reactivated, is throwing in the Pirate bullpen. And there's ball 4. to Pena. And it has not been on very many occasions when Tony Pena has walked twice in one game, but he has done so this afternoon, and he is on to start the 7th, and Sid has walked 3 of the last 5 hitters he has faced now.
And I think that's going to start the Met bullpen, get a little activity down there.
Rick Aguilera was throwing before, but having pitched the 2nd game of the doubleheader Friday night, he was just getting his work in, and there's Roger McDowell beginning to throw.
With Bruce Berenia having hurt his ankle jogging here in Pittsburgh, it might be an opportunity for Aggie to get into the starting rotation.
It's a bad town to jog in. They got too many potholes here. Here's Jim Morrison, who's 0 for 2. He's flied to center and grounded back to the pitcher. Morrison this year entered the game just 0-95 against Mets pitching. He's now 2 for 23. And he fouls the first one back for strike 1. Morrison does have a home run. One of his 2 hits against the Mets. A dinger this year. And he leads their club with 9 home runs. And the off-speed delivery way outside, 1-1. Ball hit foul the other way down the right field line. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pirates have a lot of guys like Jim Morrison on this ball club. Guys who can play different positions, and guys that you think of, as Morrison has been, somewhat of a journeyman type guy throughout their career. And they've now begun to mix in a lot of young talent with those all-around type veterans. Sharply hit, and Knight with a fine play, but he won't have a play to make after getting to the ball. He does, however, save an extra base hit and keep the lead runner at second base.
There's Knight going for the ball. This ball looks like it's going to get through. Can't see it so well there, but he dove for that ball, knocked it down, realized throwing it would be a mistake. We're going to see it here. Nice stop. Throwing there would only give him a chance to make an error. And what you were saying, Steve, I think the one thing that the Pittsburgh organization has tried to work on doing, they had so many players who were dissatisfied here over the last few seasons with playing as part of the Pittsburgh franchise. As they got rid of those guys, they said, the heck with it. You know, we're going to bring some guys in here who want to play. And here's one of them right here, and Johnny Ray.
Johnny Ray has been sort of the core around which they have tried to rebuild this team. And he's going to pinch hit for Sam Khalifa. Ray did not start the game, but he is among the league leaders, second at the start of play, hitting .337 to Tony Gwynn's .341 in the National League. And he misses the fastball for strike 1.
So far this season, Ray is 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. He doesn't get very many opportunities to pinch hit.
Bill Robinson trying to get the outfielders to move in. Specifically, Wilson in center and Mitchell in right. And a late swing on another fastball, and it's 0-2. Ray with 3 homers and 20 RBIs to go with his .337 batting average.
And has swung the bat extremely well against the Mets. 8 for 25, a .320 batting average with 4 RBIs.
And he takes high and away, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runners at first and second against Sid Fernandez, and nobody out. We're in the top of the 7th inning with the Mets leading the Pirates 4-0. Big strikeout for Sid Fernandez, his 5th of the afternoon, and there's 1 away here in the 7th inning.
It's just amazing to see him strike out so many times in this series. We're seeing 2 things that are contrasting. We're seeing Tony Pena walking, which is a rarity, and we're watching Johnny Ray strike out so many times this series.
Well, that's just another indication of why baseball is so unpredictable. Mike Diaz will pinch hit for pitcher Jim Wynn. Diaz hitting 188. No homers and 3 RBIs. He's 2 for 13 with 2 RBIs as a pinch hitter. And there's Don Robinson, who has been throwing and will apparently be the next Pirate pitcher.
Diaz has had 6 at-bats against the Mets. There's only 1 hit. But certainly looks like a strong young player.
Jim Wynn pitches an inning and 2/3, charged with 1 run on 4 hits. He struck out a batter and did not walk anyone. As Diaz hits for him with 2 on and 1 out here in the 7th.
Last year in 1985, Diaz hit .312 in Hawaii. Had 22 home runs and 85 RBIs. So he's got some pop.
And he hits it a ton to left field. This ball way out of here, and it is now 4-3 New York.
Fastball right out over the plate. As we said, Diaz with fine power certainly got all of this ball. When it left the bat, you just knew it was going to be out of the ballpark.
And for Mike Diaz, I believe that is his first major league home run. So it's now a 1-run ball game, and here's Barry Bonds. Still only 1 out. It's in tight, ball 2. Roger McDowell continues to throw in the Mets bullpen. That home run by Diaz, only the 3rd base hit off Sid Fernandez, but it brought home 3 runs.
And if Sid Fernandez loses Barry Bonds, I think we're going to see Roger McDowell in this ball game.
Only the 6th home run. There's Davey Johnson, the Mets manager. Only the 6th home run Sid has given up. And it's ball 4. He walks Bonds on 4 pitches. And Davey Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre talking about it, and here comes Davey.
They have been discussing a double switch here. We'll see. Davey's going out. Looks like he's talking to the home plate umpire, so he's going to pull some double switch.
While the pitching change is made, with the Mets leading 4-3, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. We'll take time out for this word from U.S. Healthcare. Double switch. Wally Backman inserted at 2nd for Tim Tuffle. Wally will bat 9th, and Roger McDowell will bat 2nd, coming into the game in relief of Sid Fernandez.
And Roger McDowell this year is 5-0 with a 2.60 earned run average. Has been in 25 games, finished 14 of those games. And Roger has a 1.23 earned run average, only 4 runs earned in 29 1/3 innings in his last 15 outings, with 3 wins, 3 saves. He's tied for 7th in the league in appearances with 25. And his 5-0 right now is the longest current winning streak for a pitcher this year in the National League.
And he's going to be facing R.J. Reynolds, one of the hottest hitters in the National League, who will pinch hit for Rafael Bellion.
Reynolds against the Mets this year is 9 hits and 23 at-bats for a .391 batting average.
And against the league, he's hitting .315 with 5 homers and 23 RBIs. He's 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter. Barry Bonds at first base, 1 out here in the 7th inning. Mike Diaz pinch hit 3-run home run has taken the Pirates from a 4-0 New York lead to a 4-3 Mets advantage. Bonds chased back at first. Barry with 3 stolen bases. He stole his 3rd in the 3rd inning today.
I'll bet you Mr. Diaz has someone sauntering out to the left field area to try to pick up that ball as a keepsake.
Those first Major League homers are...
And what a first Major League homer.
Boy, I'll tell you. You still have the ball you hit first?
Yes, I hit my first home run off Don Drysdale, and I do have the ball.
All right.
First home run off Don Drysdale, and also was knocked down first by Don Drysdale in my career.
Well, that would figure.
Actually, the knockdown came before the home run.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, it probably then was not the last time you were knocked down by Drysdale.
Definitely not.
The Twin D could flip him with the best of them.
Sometimes he wouldn't flip you, he'd just hit you.
1-0. 1-1. As Reynolds goes after the sinker. Misses it.
Roger McDowell, bread and butter pitch, sinker down, breaking out of the strike zone.
And it's fouled back. Again, the sinker, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
When Rogers had his problems, it's obvious that the sinker is thrown up in the strike zone. But he has not done a lot of that, especially as of late. Rogers pitched very well.
And the Mets are hoping he can continue to do that as this game turned around very quickly. One swing of Mike Diaz's bat, and Reynolds is struck out. Home plate umpire Joe West says he went too far, and that's the second out here in the 7th.
It's tough to lay off Roger McDowell's pitches. He comes in hard here. Coming back. The ball is inside. The umpire Joe West making the call.
And RJ did a pretty good acting job. He might get nominated for an Academy Award, but
he didn't complain too much.
He knew he was fooled. Bill Allman, 0 for 2 plus a walk. Barry Bonds at first, now with 2 out. Bonds representing the tying run. Running as Allman misses for strike 1.
Which is surprising to me, Steve. I think that as aggressive as they've been this whole series, I expected to see some movement here.
Well, with 2 out in a situation like this, most managers would want to try to get that tying run into scoring position, and Bonds is chased back again. One strike to count. 1-1.
Outfield playing deep as it should. Make sure that there are no long doubles where that runner can score from first base.
And Bonds, of course, has outstanding speed. Gary tried to fake a throw and reach back and tag Bonds, but Barry on the bag. And he's running here. The pitch is high, and the throw not in time. Yes, it is. I thought he was in under the tag, but he was called out by second base umpire Steve Ripley, and the inning is over.
Backman with the tag. I think the Mets got a break there, Stevie.
Well, the inning is over, and the Mets still lead it 4-3 over Pittsburgh, and we're back after this for Sports Illustrated. R.J. Reynolds, who stays in the game after striking out as a pinch hitter. Bill Allman, who started in left, moves in to play shortstop. And Johnny Ray, who pinch hit, stays in the game for Rafael Belliard, who was pinch hit for. And Jim Wynn is the new pitcher for the Pirates.
Actually, it's Robinson, Steve.
Don Robinson.
He's just coming back from rehab. He's only been in 3 games with the Pirates this season. Has a 16.20 earned run average in 3 1/3 innings. Has not pitched against the Mets this year. Last year with the Pirates, he was 5-11 with a 3.87 earned run average.
Donnie had been down at Prince William, which is Class A for the Pittsburgh Pirates, on his injury rehabilitation assignment. Then he made 3 starts down there. He's been on the disabled list until last night, since April 21st. And he will face George Foster leading off the top of the 8th inning. And a fastball low for ball 1.
And when Robinson is healthy, he has outstanding major league stuff. He picked up not a split-fingered fastball, but really a fork ball that he threw into his repertoire of pitches, which made him extremely difficult to hit.
To go with that good fastball, you throw a pitch like the forkball, which looks like a fastball and then breaks down, you've got some double trouble.
Well, he's got a good curveball and a good slider, and his biggest problem has not been his arm in his career, although he's had a couple of problems with it. Right now, it's been his knees.
Yeah, he's over the years, he's had about every problem a pitcher could have. That'll be out of play down the right field line.
But the only time I've ever seen anybody have more rehab in his career than Don Robinson is probably Craig Swan, who really worked at getting back.
That's right. Finally did Swanning in, however. It's tough to come back, especially from arm problems. Inside to George, and the count is 2-2. Foster 1 for 3, drove in a run in the 6th inning with a single to left. Foster to be followed by Ray Knight and Ed Hearn. It's 4-3 New York, top of the 8th. Fouled off, and George gets enough of it to stay up there. Foster's base hit to drive in a run in the 6th means he has now hit in 6 of his last 7 games. With 8 RBIs.
George with 344 career home runs, 37th on the all-time list.
High and tight, and the count is full.
Chasing Richie Allen, who's 36 with 351.
Got 7 to go. Boy, he could hit him a long way, couldn't he?
He was the most outstanding young hitter I think I saw during my young years in baseball.
Strike 3 call. The fastball at the knees gets Foster looking. George disagrees with Joe West, but there's 1 out in the 8th.
Don Robinson with the delivery. Fastball. Tough location. Joe West, the man of decision, calls it a strike.
And here's Ray Knight. Knight 1 for 3, reached on an error in the 4th, single to center in the 6th inning. And that's ball 1. Ray has hit well against the Pirates, entered the game batting .381, which included 2 home runs. Ray's just hit well, period. And he drives one into the right center field gap that will not be caught. It too will one-hop the wall as Knight chugs into second with a double.
And as you were saying, Steve, he is still swinging an outstanding bat. Robinson gets a fastball, maybe a little cut fastball out over the plate. Ray Knight goes with it exceptionally well. Stand-up double for Ray Knight.
And that's Ray's 13th double of the year, which ties him for 5th in the league behind the leader Von Hayes of Philadelphia, who has 18. Ed Hearn is 0 for 3. He is struck out, lined into a double play, and reached on a fielder's choice. Fouled straight back for strike 1.
The Mets this year seem to, in so many situations, when the opposing club narrows the gap, seem to find a way to score other runs. It's been the key to their success. They've had some blowouts. But as we've said many times, you just got to keep on coming in this game.
Well, that along with the success of the Mets bullpen has made them tough to catch whenever they have gotten the lead in the ballgame. That ability to score more runs, and then Orozco and McDowell having outstanding years, and Doug Sisk has come back and pitched very well since being recalled from Tidewater. Randy Neiman's done a good job. There's the bullpen. Catching a few rays. And there's Randy Neiman throwing. 1-1 to Ed Hearn. 1 out, Knight at second. 4-3, the Mets lead. And Ed lays off the high fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ed catching while Gary Carter plays first today. fastball hit well into center field. Bonds going back, makes the catch. Nice play by Barry Bonds on a well-hit drive into the gap, and Ray Knight goes back to second. Ed Hearn goes back to the dugout.
It's twice today Ed Hearn has hit the ball exceptionally well. Bonds makes the play look easy. Another angle. He's going to be a good center fielder.
Good looking young ball player. So 2 out of the inning, and Rafael Santana the batter. Santana 0 for 3. Pena out to have a brief conference with Don Robinson.
Maybe reminding him that the pitcher is not the next hitter. That the Mets have flip-flopped.
Wally Backman on deck. Fastball right in there for strike 1. Rafi has really struggled at the plate. There's Wally, the on-deck hitter. Backman, who was inserted at second when the double switch was made. Santana's average now down to 162. There's a sharply hit one hopper that handcuffs Johnny Ray, but he does throw out Santana at first base to end the inning. A double by Knight, 1 left here in the 8th. And the Mets still lead it 4-3 as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning after this for the good old Skies. To play center field for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Mookie Wilson, who played the previous part of the game in center, moves to left as George Foster gets a rest. The sun is out here in Pittsburgh. First time we've seen the sun all year here. Snowed out the second game of the season, and it's been cloudy, rainy, and humid the first 3 days of this 4-day trip. So Roger McDowell pitching his second inning in relief, and in the bottom of the 8th inning, Bill Allman will lead it off for the Pirates. It's 4-3 New York. Allman was on base, or rather at the plate, when R.J. Reynolds, make that Barry Bonds, attempted to steal second base in the 7th inning and was caught stealing. So Allman up again. Mike Brown and Sid Bream to follow. 1-1. Has flied deep to left center. He has flied to center and has walked. And he flies to right. So he will have now flied to all 3 outfielders. Then there's 1 away. McDowell entered the game for Fernandez in the 7th inning with 1 out. Struck out pinch hitter R.J. Reynolds. And the Bucs will send another pinch hitter up, Lee Mazzilli. Practicing, I guess, for some other upcoming event. They probably would never dream that anybody saw them do that either.
Especially as high up in the stands as they are. They are at the absolute peak of this stadium.
Bill Webb will find you wherever you are. Beware. Maz, the former Met. 226 with no homers and 4 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, Maz is 4 for 18 with 1 pinch hit RBI.
Maz has had the opportunity to start about 5 games recently. Although the last 2 days he has not been out there as a starter.
Batting here for right fielder Mike Brown, who has been playing primarily against left-handed pitching. And batting with 1 out and nobody on. It's a first pitch in the air to left field, fairly deep, but Mookie has room, and there are now 2 out.
When you're a pinch hitter and you're coming off the bench, you have to be swinging. Mazzilli has had a lot of walks, actually, as a pinch hitter this year, but came off the bench swinging that time. Hit the ball well, got it up a little bit.
Here's Sid Bream, who is 0 for 3. He has popped to second, struck out looking, and flied to shallow center field. He had a tough 3 at-bats against the left-hander Sid Fernandez, so he's semi-excited to see a right-hander out there. But he takes the first pitch for strike 1. Just a little bit more than half of Sid Bream's 47 hits are for extra bases. 24 of them. This one will not be one of those, however, as Wally Backman makes the play at second, and it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Roger McDowell here in the 8th. Still 4-3 New York as we go to the 9th inning. After this, for Bud Light.
It's the red-hot baseball action continuing Tuesday night at 7:30 when the New York Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies live from Shea Stadium here on Channel 9.
R.J. Reynolds, who was in left field, now moves to right field to start the 9th inning, and Lee Mazzilli, who pinch hit for the right fielder Mike Brown, stays in the game in left field. And Wally Backman will be batting for the first time after entering the game when the double switch was made by Davy Johnson back in the 7th inning. Wally hitting .318 on the year.
And Steve Wally's hitting .326 in his last 27 games and scored 19 runs. So he's been productive.
And he has been very productive from the left side as a left-handed hitter. .337. Grounded to second. Johnny Ray comes in a few steps, respecting Backman's speed, and there's one away. 4-3. New York leads it. The Mets with 2 runs in the 4th on Kevin Mitchell's 2-run home run. Then they scored a run in the 6th and a run in the 7th. There's the youngest cheerleader in attendance today.
And another one.
And they led 4-0 at that point.
Trying to stir the fans up here, shaking his arm.
He's got those hot sunglasses on, too.
He's ready for anything.
The Pirates scored their 3 runs in the 7th when Mike Diaz hit a 3-run pinch hit homer. Mookie swings and misses for strike 1. Mookie's 1 for 4 with a double and a run score.
That pitch was probably that split-fingered forkball pitch. The ball just fell down and away. Tough to lay off that pitch. Split-fingered pitch being the pitch of the 1980s.
And it's strike 2. Thanks to the success of the Detroit Tigers in 1984.
And I think originally Bruce Sutter bringing the pitch,
true,
probably into baseball more so than any other pitcher.
Mookie's out of there. He did not run, not knowing that the ball was not handled cleanly by Tony Pena, so Pena tags him out. Second strikeout for Robinson.
This Robinson, that's the split finger, forkball, whatever you want to call it. It's a very tough pitch. It looks just like a fastball, and the bottom falls out of it. It's like a dry spitter.
So 2 out and nobody on, and Roger McDowell will hit. Batting second in the batting order. Raj does not get up too often, like most late inning relief pitchers. And he gets a base hit. McDowell with a single to right. Only his second hit of the year. He's now 2 for 7.
Robinson throws the fastball first pitch, trying to get ahead. And like a good hitter, moves the ball to right field.
That's right. There's Jesse Orozco throwing just in case.
I'm sure Roger will have a few things to say about that after the game.
I like it. You know, he didn't try to do too much with it. If you do, you wind up grounding to the shortstop on a pitch like that. But he just went with it nicely. Here's a guy that's been going with it quite nicely. Kevin Mitchell is 3 for 4. He doubled, hit a 2-run home run, and singled. He's driven in 3 of the Mets' 4 runs. And he fouls it back. It's popped up near the dugout, but it's on the roof of the dugout, out of play. Strike 1.
And Kevin Mitchell obviously having an opportunity to go for the cycle here if he can find a gap or hit a line and have somebody make a bad move.
He's got the speed to pick up a triple, and that's all he would need to hit for the cycle today. Mitch now hitting .333 on the year.
Mitch wiping his brow. Been on the bases a lot today.
Still got enough wind to blow a big bubble.
Yeah, in fact, Roger McDowell last inning looked like he did not have gum for the first time. It's one of the few times I've ever seen Roger McDowell not chewing bubble gum.
On or off the field, for that matter. Now, he chews it at the park, but he chews it from the time he gets to the park. Low and away. 1-1.
But Don Robinson certainly seems to be over the ill effects of his knee. He seems to be throwing the ball well. catcher telling him that the first baseman is playing behind the runner.
There you see Bream semi-holding McDowell, and Mitchell takes strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out with McDowell at first. We're in the top of the 9th inning. The Mets with 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors. The Pirates 3 runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors. Mitchell a home run for the Mets. Mike Diaz a home run for the Pirates. And that'll be out of play, and the count holds at 1-2.
The Mets came into this game leading the National League in hitting. Have done nothing today to deter that.
Not at all. And how many times have you looked up there late in the game and seen double figures in that hit column for New York? They've also now hit 16 home runs in the last 14 games.
And have done an excellent job stealing bases.
Somebody bonked their head. Never foul. So it's still 1-2.
In the last 9 attempts, the Mets have stolen 9 in a row.
That's right. And they're 14 of their last 16. All coming together to give New York the best record in baseball. The Mets are going for their 37th victory against only 15 losses. And they opened the day with a 9-game lead over the Montreal Expos.
Obviously the best start in Met history.
So another 1-2 pitch to Kevin Mitchell. Foul back. Mitch facing a pretty tough right-hander after previously hitting against the left-hander McWilliams.
It's funny, Tim Tuffle last year when he was with Minnesota handled right-handed pitching much better than he did left-handed pitching. This year he's going to have to work those problems out.
And it's another league too, and also it's tough to draw a long-term comparison from just one season. There
or 2
other circumstances, right? Strike 3 call. Robinson strikes out 2 in the inning. The Mets get a hit but leave a batter. And we'll go to the bottom of the 9th in a 1-run affair. It's New York 4, Pittsburgh 3. After this for Ford. Three Rivers in Pittsburgh as the Mets lead it 4-3, and in 1-run games the Mets are 11-4. The Pirates are 4-7. And if you want to take the home and away factor into consideration, the Pirates, as you and Ralph detailed earlier, Rusty, have a very poor home record. They are 9-20 at home, and the Mets are the opposite of that on the road. New York 20-9 away from Shea.
Well, most of their games is just in this recent homestand that the Mets started logging some games at home. The first part of the season, I would say the first 2 months of the season, the Mets were on the road at least 2/3 of the time.
Yeah, I think the Mets only had 14 games at home before Memorial Day, something like that. Well, here's Tony Pena to lead off the bottom of the 9th. Jim Morrison to follow, and Johnny Ray scheduled up 3rd for Pittsburgh. Pena 0 for 1. He has walked twice and scored a run. And a strike. Tony looks like he's ready to do some serious hacking. He's got those shirt sleeves pushed up. And he does do some serious hacking, looping one into the right center field gap. Mitchell over to cut it off. Will hold Pena to a single to lead off the bottom of the 9th. And the Pirates have the tying run aboard with nobody out.
Well, Tony Pena doing something that he should do more often in moving the ball toward right field. Certainly does it here.
That's the first hit off Roger McDowell. And here's Jim Morrison, who's 1 for 3 with an RBI single and a run scored.
That bullpen getting a little active right now.
And the sinker is low, and Tony Pena had a thought in his mind about going down to second, but retreated to first. Dowell in relief of Fernandez. As Morrison, a right-hander here. And then Johnny Ray, a switch hitter, scheduled up next. Strike call. And Jesse Orozco, who was up earlier, is once again throwing. 1-1 to Jim Morrison. 4-3 New York. Hit fairly well into right center, but Mitchell is over there, and Pena, who was playing at halfway, goes back to first. And there's one out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And here's Johnny Ray. Ray struck out in the 7th inning as a pinch hitter and stayed in the ball game. He started the day second in the National League in batting average at .337. Tony Gwynn leading at .341. And Ray Knight of the Mets third at .331. Just outside, ball 1.
Job at the plate. He has not made an error in the 34 games since April 27th. He's having one fine season. Actually has been hitless in his last 2 games, one of the few times in the last 2 years that he's gone 2 games in a row without a hit.
That is correct. He has really been consistent, and he's hit .358 here at Three Rivers Stadium this year. And he hits it on the line to center field, but Dykstra has a beat on it. And there are 2 away in the 9th.
And we're going to get a pinch hitter here. Looks like Orsulak.
Joe Orsulak is out on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher Don Robinson. The Pirates have the tying run at first base with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. And Orsulak will be the pinch hitter.
Orsulak against the Mets this year. 5 hits and 18 at-bats. Driven in 2 runs. Hitting .278.
And against the league, he's a .245 hitter with a homer and 11 RBIs. 0 for 6 as a pinch hitter. And Davey Johnson has come out and may be going to Jesse Orozco. And he is.
It's always disappointing for a relief pitcher like Roger, who would love to get a save in this situation, to leave in a game like this. But the manager has to go with what he feels is correct.
Mets by 1 with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th, and we'll take time out for this word from R.C. Cola.
And as you see, Jesse Orozco warming up. Jesse has a 2-2 record this year with 9 saves and a 1.63 earned run average. He's been scored upon on only 3 of his 20 relief outings on the season and has 8 saves in his last 8 save opportunities.
And with the left-hander Jesse Orozco coming into the game, Junior Ortiz, the former Met, will now be the pinch hitter in place of Joe Orsulak. Junior's hitting .250 with no homers, 3 RBIs, and this is his first official. I'll tell you, I got to kickstart that mouth on the day games. First official at bat as a pinch hitter. And Junior's been hot.
Yes, Junior has been hot. He's had 5 hits in his last 9 at bats for a .556 average. And you know Junior would like to be up and aggressive in this situation.
Tying run at first base for the Pirates with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. Ortiz representing the winning run. He takes low for ball 1.
In all my years of playing baseball, I don't think I had any more fun playing with any player other than Junior Ortiz. Junior
is a notorious hearts player. Notorious in the fact that he's not real good at it. And he has a T-shirt that he wears. And this is going to end the game, and I'll tell you the story in a minute. Ray Knight going for the pop-up, squeezes it, and the Mets win. New York now 37-15 as Orozco throws 2 pitches to pick up his 10th save of the year. We'll be right back to close it out here. Stay with us. The Mets have won it 4-3 over Pittsburgh, and we'll return to Three Rivers after this for Bud Light.